Well, exactly. That's why I'm gonna do a straight shot. I'm gonna do a straight shot, but I wasn't ready. Okay, mic ain't covering. Ready, 3. Hello everyone, welcome aboard to Talking Ship. This is my very first cruise podcast. I'm super excited, but also kind of nervous for some reason. But I've been talking about wanting to do this podcast for months. I just haven't found, back at the time, I've never found the motivation to start this podcast. And yeah, so then a lot of things happened the past few months, but it's kind of hectic. So now I was like, you know what? Now my new man has been motivating me. And it feels kind of, I feel more awkward because he's sitting right beside me just staring at me. He has no idea about anything about cruises. But anyways, I'm trying to make this trying to calm down a little bit. But anyways, okay, let's just get straight to the point. So anybody who doesn't know me, my name's Clarissa. This is the podcast I've been talking about for a while. And I was wanting to do it a lot sooner, but it didn't happen. Life happened. So I'm here now in front of this camera talking to maybe a couple or 100 or thousands of you. I don't know. But yeah, so Talking Ship, this podcast is just basically about the cruise industry. I love to cruise. I really do. In my TikTok page, which I'll put my socials down below in the description box, I'll be putting on TikTok just about cruise news and stuff like that has been going on, especially with Royal Caribbean, because they've been having a lot of big news happening almost every week. It's kind of hard for me to catch up, but I am a cruise girly. I love cruises. I first started cruising November of 2022. But overall, this is going to be a short introduction podcast, maybe for, 15 to 20 minutes, however long I can yap. And starting next Sunday on November 8th, I will be boarding on Carnival Jubilee. I've never been on Carnival before, so this will be, I'm a loyal to Royal girly. I am, but I get kind of nervous on going for a different cruise line because, well, I have a lot more. I'm going to just save it for the other episodes, but I have a lot to say. When I went on another cruise line, did not go well. So that'll be a story time that we can talk about on the next episode. But overall, this could be just a main quick overview of this podcast, what it's going to be about, basically about cruise news, cruise industries like Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, MSC, all those top name brand cruise lines, and then just share my thoughts and opinions with you guys. And yeah, and also I want to share, I'm a travel agent as well. So I became a travel agent. It's already been a year now. It's crazy. Time went by pretty fast, but yeah, so I became a travel agent a year ago. And so even before that, I've learned a lot of things as a first-time cruiser all the way to now. I think I've been 8-9 cruises in the past 2 years, but I've learned a lot of stuff. So I'm not here to tell y'all, hey, book with me, blah, 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 which y'all, if y'all do want to book with me, go right ahead. I'll put that, down below in the description box. But overall, I do want to help people. The things that I've learned as a cruiser. Now, I'm sure maybe other people have had other experiences as me or not. But overall, I want this podcast to help everyone to stay informed and learn more about the cruise industry. And anybody who loves cruising, hello. I mean, I love cruising, and I talk to my boyfriend and some of my family members about cruises, and they kind of look at me with a blank stare. So it's kind of feels kind of awkward. But I also do plan to have special guests on this podcast as well. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get somebody from the Carnival Cruise Line to join this podcast with me. It would be pretty cool to have special guests on this podcast. I do have 2 people actually that are also one of my cruise friends. She's from New Jersey. Her and her boyfriend, they do a lot of cruising as well. So hopefully to have them joining this cruise podcast. Another guy, a big TikTok page, have him join on. He said hey, when I talked about it on TikTok, talking about this podcast, kind of scared to start it. He was like, hey, I volunteer. I want to join this podcast as well. So yeah, so hopefully them, and then potentially, who knows, maybe what if I interview the CEO of Royal Caribbean, Michael Bailey, onto this podcast? I think that'd be so crazy. That would be such a life dream. But anyways, we got to work our way up, right? Small steps, but let a girl dream, right? So anyways, yeah, so this is just a short podcast. I don't know how long I've been talking. 4 minutes? It felt like it's been. So yeah, again, my name's Clarissa. I started as a travel agent a year ago. And, I didn't know anything about cruises at all. Like, I didn't know they existed until somebody I was with at the time. He was the one who told me about cruises, my ex now. And he was the one that took me on my first cruise. And ever since then, I just went crazy for cruises. And now it became an addiction of mine. So again, this podcast is just to help people, inform people, but also I want to give my honest opinion about cruising. So I will be brutally honest with you guys. Like, I've learned some things on cruise lines that I will tell y'all straight up front, bad and good stuff. I will tell y'all everything. Like, I'm not gatekeeping. I just want to be truthful of like what all I've learned as, a cruiser for 2 years? 2 years or so? Almost 3 years. So yeah, I have some stories. Like I said, I'll share for my next episode podcast, but I do plan to do this podcast once a week or maybe more. I mean, like I said, I'm always on the loop when it comes to cruise lines, cruise news, and I'm actually pretty good at that. So it's like my morning newspaper I read like every day, but I stay pretty informed with the cruise lines and hope I can really, we can talk about, like, for example, like Royal Caribbean, right? They've been having like big mega ships, like 3 ships that are building at the same time, but also they're having 3 beach clubs. That's going a lot of, right? So like I've talked about that on my TikTok. Some people were kind of upset on how fast Royal Caribbean, but so, stuff like that. It's just basically an overall view about cruise lines. Now, I've never been on luxury cruises like Silver Seas, any of that. But like I said, I'm only going to do cruise lines that I've been on. I'll also talk about like Norwegian that I've never been on, Virgin I've never been on. So like stuff that I see that I want to share with you guys, I'll definitely talk about it as like in this podcast. So again, this is just my introduction podcast, episode 1 of Talking Ship, which is, I really hope you guys really do enjoy this podcast. I know if somebody's going to listen to me, but yeah, so like I said, I've been talking about this podcast, doing it for months, just never done it. But now, here I am now, and I hope I truly do see some good stuff happening with this podcast. But yeah, so what else can I talk about? Yeah, I mean, cars and cruises. This is my YouTube channel. It's basically my hobbies, my happiness, cars, because I have a fast car. Semi-fast car. A Cadillac CTS-V. I have that. I've had it for almost 2 years. Just turned 2 years in October. And what else? Cruises, because I love to cruise. So cars and cruises, I just started this YouTube channel, I'd say November of this past year of 2024. So yeah, I've started having my own business as a travel agent and starting YouTube, and I'm just trying to get to like all this stuff. So like me working a full-time job, working for the chemical olefins manufacturing side, plus, doing YouTube, TikTok, travel agency, a lot of stuff all over my plate. I like to stay busy. I feel like I'm not busy enough, but yeah, so yeah, this pretty much it. Like I said, I don't want to go into further detail just yet on this podcast. I do want to save for episode 2, but there is going to be 7 nights of vlogging that I'll be on the Carnival Jubilee, and yeah, let's just see how that goes, because like I said, I'm very nervous on going to a different cruise line, especially I just hit my platinum status with Royal Caribbean. Like I know, just give a round of applause for that. But yeah, so I hit platinum on Royal Caribbean. I don't even know how to act. But then I look back at the points, kind of like, oh, I still have like 500 something points left till I hit Pinnacle, and I'm at 31. So I have a long ways to go. But yeah, so overall this year, I've gone on January. I went on Utopia of the Seas. It was my second time. February, I went on Symphony of the Seas. August, I went to the inaugural sailing of Star of the Seas, and now November, I'll be on the Carnival Jubilee. So my bucket list for last year was going on a Carnival cruise, so now I finally get to do it. This is like a seminar at sea opportunity that I'll be going on. So for anybody who doesn't know what seminar at sea is, so it's basically, so as a travel agent, we get like, they call it FAM opportunities, so FAM/seminar at sea. So for cruising, they have seminar at sea. So they have like Royal Caribbean, Carnival, like whatever cruise lines, they offer that as travel agents, and then we get reduced price on that. So on this one I'm getting on a balcony room with 2 guests and a Wi-Fi included, gratuity included, and for a set price, I think $1,800. So, I mean, it's not bad. Like, not bad at all. I've spent a lot more on a cruise. Yeah, I've spent a whole lot. I think the most I've spent on was on Celebrity Cruise Lines. That was last November. I was supposed to be with somebody, but then it was a family emergency that happened, and then I couldn't get my refund for that second person. So yeah, it's a whole lot. I was solo traveling before, so I have a lot to say on solo travelers because it gets pretty expensive if you don't know what you're doing. So, but yeah, Celebrity was like the highest money I've spent on a cruise. It's crazy. I look back, I'm like, how did I spend that much? I look back on the many times I've been cruising on, and I ask myself, I could have literally built a twin turbo 10-speed swap CTSV with that much money I've spent on a cruise. Could have been fast, but at the same time, I like to have fun. I like to travel. I've never traveled before, so growing up, me and my parents, we never really traveled. My dad would be the working dad, my mom would be the stay-at-home mom, and then there's me. So yeah, I never really traveled. So getting to see different places in the world, I've learned a lot of things. I'm still learning new things, like in other places to explore. So again, throughout this podcast, I do want this podcast to inform people and to help people, like going to Cozumel, like what beach clubs are worth it, what's not. There's Paradise Beach, Mr. Sancho's, and like other stuff. And then there's also like Nassau, like what to do. Like it's just so many stuff, that Jamaica and all that. I've learned a lot of things. I'm going to talk to you guys in this podcast. So again, episode 1 is just more of an introduction. I feel like I was all over the place in this podcast. Or maybe not. It was just probably. Do you think I was all over the place?
Talk about the first time you went on a cruise.
I feel like I just want to do this like as a short introduction podcast.
People hanging. You gotta give them something.
I gotta do a little suspense.
No. This ain't no novel.
Yeah, I'm writing my story. This podcast is like my story. Okay, so so I guess I'll tell y'all the first time I started cruising then. Since my sidekick says to tell you guys my whole life story. Okay, so this was August 2022. It was a work, so at the company I was working with at the time, they were doing like a Moody Gardens event. So the company, they had like a whole event venue for us, and it was for like all the employees plus their plus ones, or like their families. So we stayed at the Moody Gardens and like the hotel and stuff. I think, was it included? It was optional if you could stay, but it was like at a reduced price. I don't know. But anyways, so me and my boyfriend at the time, we stayed there. We had a good time. And once we left out of Galveston, we drove by, I remember like this one street, and I seen a big boat. It was Royal Caribbean. I think it was Liberty of the Seas. And then there was like another Carnival, like small ship. I don't know which one it was, but I looked at him. I was like, what is that? And he was like, oh, that's a cruise ship. He's like, you never been on? I was like, no, I've never been on a cruise ship. He was like, yeah. He's like, I went in one when I was like 18. I went on Carnival. He went like with a family trip. And he was like, yeah, he's like, they're fun. He's like, we'll go. I was like, you promise? He was like, yeah, like we'll go. So November of 2022, we did a 7-night sailing. Mind you, this was my first time cruising. This was his like official second time, which was like, let's say like 5-6 years later, he starts cruising again. But yeah, so it was on Royal Caribbean's Allure of the Seas, leaving out of Galveston for 7-night sailing. Basically, all their 7-night sailings, it's always Cozumel, Costa Maya, and Roatan, Honduras. So those are the 3 stops, plus 3-4 days at sea, if I'm not mistaken, 4 days at sea. But yeah, so it was during hurricane season in November. It was like, I think early November. But I was the one that booked the cruise. Me not knowing anything, right? First time cruiser, I was like, hey, like, I would just ask them, hey, check your schedule. Are you cool to book? Hey, like, let me check with my boss if I can work. Because I was also like months like fresh in. I just started with this job, with this company. So my supervisor said, hey, you gave me the green light. All right, you're good. Take those days off. So I took it. He took it. We went. And yeah, so the first thing I see, it's like, it's crazy. Like a big boat like this, it's like a floating mall. Like I was in shock because, again, I've never knew a single thing about cruises. Like if it wasn't for him, I would have not known anything about cruise ships. Like I was just living under a rock pretty much. But yeah, so we had to do like the whole check-in process, and I was just getting kind of lost. Like, oh my gosh, like where do we go? And like we had a Royal Caribbean. I just felt like we were just not as prepared. And again, it was my first time, so like I didn't know. But yeah, so we did like the whole check-in, the boarding. We checked into our room. We listened to the announcements to like get to our room. Because I think for Royal Caribbean, I don't know if it's the same with other cruise lines, which I'll find out for y'all when I go on Carnival. 1 o'clock, 1:30, your stateroom's available. Like it's open, so you're able to like go in. Because the whole day, because obviously the cleaning attendants, they're cleaning the room and all that, waiting for the next set of guests to come in on board. So yeah, we got settled in. It was a ocean view room. So it was just like your standard window, porthole, not a balcony. We were on deck 14. And so on the way up there, like to Mexico and Honduras, no issues. It was smooth sailing. Now, we also did shows. Like, they have ice shows, the aqua shows. So, like, they had, like, a whole boardwalk on deck 6 and hot dog house. Like, it was crazy. Like, I was impressed. Like, I was mesmerized. It's like a little girl in a candy store, just, like, looking at all this stuff. I'm, oh, my gosh, like, this is so crazy. They have, like, your own shops on board. Like, it was, which I got me some pair of earrings. But anyways, which is tax duty free, by the way, on international waters. Letting y'all know. But, yeah, so on the way back, it was scary because we were in the middle of a hurricane. So again, we were on deck 14. The winds were at 65 miles per hour or more. The waves, I kid you not, they were just hitting on deck 14 of our porthole window, just slamming it out. Woo, woo, like you just heard it loud. And I was, the years I've never chewed my nails, I was chewing my nails that night. Because I was pretty scared. I was like, man, like, I was looking at him. I was like, man, I really hope we do make it on land on safe. Like, I hope we do. And he actually thought, like, I'll be traumatized. Like, I would never go back on a cruise ship. But in my head, which actually, there was a few people that got sick. They made a few announcements, medical, like doing the alpha announcements. And people, like, the main promenade on deck 5, that they were having some accidents. Like, people that were getting seasick. It was bad. People were, the way we were walking, like back to our stateroom, we were like holding on because we were like kind of like moving left, right. But yeah, so it was a crazy mess. I fell asleep. Luckily, I fell asleep because in the back of my head, I was like, okay, just a few more hours, go to sleep, we'll wake up, or we'll be there back on land. And yeah, so once we woke up, we were in Galveston. I was like, okay, well, I'm thankful, like, thank God, like, we made it here safe. Everybody made it safe. We're all good. So after that, he was like, oh, like, you're probably not going to go on back on this cruise ship again. To be honest, it was my 4th day. I was ready to go. So, pro tip for everybody. First-time cruisers, do not book a 7-night cruise because, again, I was a first-time cruiser doing a 7-night cruise. By the 4th day, I was fed up. I was over it. I was like, I just want to get off this boat. Like, I was feeling anxious. And, yeah, I did not like it. I just felt like I was like over it by that 4th day. So please listen to me when I tell you, like, if y'all are interested in going on a cruise, first time cruisers, do not do a 7-night cruise. Longer cruise, do a short cruise. They have 3 nights, 4 nights, 5 nights, but don't do 7 nights. It's too long. So my second cruise that I went on, it was a shorter cruise. But then after like that second cruise, it was like a 4-night cruise. I was like, okay, I'm ready to go back to like the longer cruise nights. So I started doing 7 nights again, and then 5 nights, whatever, 6 nights. So I definitely recommend everybody to start for first time cruisers, because I've also talked to other people whenever I'm, on the cruise boat and stuff. I asked them, is it your first time cruise? And the majority, I kid you not, the majority of people are saying first time cruisers, yeah, like we were fed up by the 4th, 5th day, like done, like we're over it. So they regret making that same decision. So I'm telling y'all right now, if y'all don't want to listen to me, y'all want to do what you want to do, go ahead. I'm just telling you as my personal opinion, and also opinion from like other people that I've also talked to on the ship. So yeah, first time cruisers, don't do it. Save yourself. But again, if you want to do it, go right ahead. So I'm just giving y'all the pro tip. But yeah, so it was, like I said, I enjoyed it, but I was over it by the 4th day. I was scared on the way back home because, again, we were in the middle of a hurricane. Now, at the time, whenever I booked it, I didn't realize like how bad it would be, right? Because I wasn't a travel agent at the time. Again, it was just my first time cruise. I had no idea about the whole hurricane or any of that. We just booked it like, okay, whatever, without even checking the news or anything. We just took the risk and like, okay, we're gonna book it. So we booked it, and yeah, so that's what happened. But yeah, so he was the one who took me onto my first cruise. It was on the Lord of the Seas, and then after that, it just became an addiction. I was like, hey, you know what? Let's do a 4-night cruise. So we did another cruise, and then after that, I was like, okay, hey, let's do another one. So it just started like growing, like gradually just building up, and yeah, so now here I am now, like travel agent and now YouTuber, and so yeah, now I'm doing this podcast in front of you guys. But yeah, so overall, again, this podcast is just to help inform everybody about, ships, but also give y'all pro tips. Again, take it or leave it, but y'all do you. I'm just telling y'all as my personal experience of the things that I've learned, as a first time cruiser, and like even the more cruises I've taken and the more research I've done, I've learned a lot of things that I definitely do want to share with everybody, just so they don't make the same mistakes as well as I did. But yeah, so that's basically, it. Like, I don't know what else is. Again, that's just it's a short, just podcast to minimize you guys about what this podcast will be about. But I will do an episode 2 where I can go more in further detail about whole cruising and how I got to the travel business and all of that. But again, in 1 week from today, November 8th, I'll be on the Jubilee. I'll be doing 7 nights of vlogging, so make sure I'll subscribe to this YouTube channel. And yeah, so support my Talking Ship podcast, and I'm finally doing it. But yeah, so what else? What else can I say before I go? What else?
I mean, if you bring it up, you might as well talk about it.
Bring up what?
Whatever, all that stuff you just mentioned.
No, that's going to be episode 2.
I mean, if you're going to bring it up, you might as well talk about it.
Episode 2. I'll just leave it at that. Just, my first overall cruise experience, leave that there. But again, I will be doing the vlogging on the ship and see how it goes. I hope everything goes well. I hope it's a smooth sailing. I'll be going with one of my friends on this cruise. So I met her last year on my solo cruise. So she was on a solo cruise too, and we became friends. So now we're going on a cruise together with Carnival. She's never been on Carnival, so should be good. And yeah, so let's just see what happens. And so again, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments, what do you want to see in this podcast? What do you want to talk about? And also, like, first time cruisers, feel free to let me know any questions that y'all have down in the comments, or if anybody who's watching and, as your first time cruising, like what things that you want to share, either to me or to others, whoever. But again, comment down below. This is just an open space for everybody. And yeah, so again, I hope y'all subscribe to this page, and see y'all on episode 2 of Talking Ship. Bye, guys. How's that?